Oh, yeah. Alrighty. I have a new little function there, but I'm gonna pop up every time we have a trade alert. So right now it's gonna stop. Adding a little something something for you guys. At the top we got the position board. At the bottom we got day trading coffee code. So still good. Uh, I am a little exhausted today. I didn't get any sleep. My son was he was sick overnight, so we stayed up with him. So today we're gonna be a little cautious. We could call it cautious. We'll go with. I need to get something up. Where is my trading view? There it is. We have no real information coming out today that's going to be moving. Mortgage rates came out slightly lower. We have crude oil inventories at 930, so really just nothing much. NQ looking to come up into 18,588. Sorry, 588 level. That level we shorted yesterday. That was our trade of the day right there. I mean, honestly, if we would have shorted and never looked back, I mean, we can't with this combine, right? We're trying to just be consistent, but you could have shorted that and rotated it all the way to the lows and been up quite a bit yesterday, just from that level alone. Nvidia is opening lower than anticipated, so Nvidia basically gapping down. Oh, actually, no. Yesterday it flushed at the close, so it's opening slightly up, gapping slightly up, but still within yesterday's low. Down to 918. It has room to and up to 939. Let's see what the other names are doing. Apple opening up above 170 potentially. We have 1 minute, so yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. Microsoft pushing up. There's your open, and we are moving. Downside to start. Nvidia's rolling some as well. So let's see what we can do here. We are technically only $300 away, but apparently our consistency rule broke. There was some sort of glitch with the top step they gave us. That one loss that we took disappeared. So our consistency rules here, not that one, puts us at. We're gonna watch this for a second. Right at the overnight highs, which was where we opened at, right? Overnight low is the yellow line, previous day low is the red line, previous day high is the green line. Where we shorted from was that 600. We really got in at like 92 and a quarter. So it was below this consolidation from yesterday. Everything about the overnight has been just long. So you can see we're just close to passing right there. I gotta open this just so I have my delta. The opening range is here, so we are leaving that opening range at the high. We have the overnight high at the high. Some of these other names are starting to sell off to start the day, right? Nvidia is starting to sell. Microsoft. That's not Microsoft. Microsoft pushed up into resistance, 424 there, and now it's selling off as well. Apple is catching a little bit of a bit above 170, right? Is that open? They bounced from 169.82 on the overnight, came up above 170.29, and now is bouncing on that. Could come up into 171.83. That's that first area of interest for me with Apple. Google, AMD, SMCI, MST. Oh, SMCI is selling. Looking at that yesterday's low as a target, I mean, as an interest point for SMCI, a flush of 1022.87 is going to be very interesting. Oh man, Nvidia is melting off. So this sell right there was good. I'm going to watch this bounce level though. If we come back up into that overnight high and then pull like a slightly lower high, do a little bit of divergence dance. If you were to short that overnight high right down in, you know, with an MAQ, you're at 76. So 760 bucks right there on that short. Coming into VWAP, Russell is pumping upside. S&P's rolling over. And obviously you see that playing out nice with the NQ. So I'm going to watch this spot. You can see that we flushed through it around 2 a.m., came down into here, but we bounced off it again and again. So that's why I drew it up over there as opposed to being down here. But I have a feeling this might crack without much issue based on the way this is selling off. I am being a little bit patient today. I woke up a little late. Sorry, I'm a little yawny. I didn't get a ton of sleep. I'm going to let some of these levels kind of get tagged and then try and make a decision around them. Or maybe if this pushes straight down, get a low base pattern here below this 510 level. That 510 level's acted as some resistance and support overnight. Right, you can see it right here. You can see that level right there, that 510, 511 level. I'm going to call it 510 because that's more important. That trend line held right there. You can see it. It's holding. Hasn't really given us an entry. This first bar is almost impossible to short right off the jump, unless that's what you're looking for. At the overnight high, like opening on overnight highs, that I do like that, but it is just difficult to just jump in and catch that right off the bat. Right, the opening range is here. It's about how many ticks is that? 60 ticks, 58 ticks. So it's a shorter range. You could have risked to the high of it, so you wait for that 1 minute open. But this is just absolutely melting off, right? Like there's just no entry. It's just a straight down, straight shot. $493.25. 18.5 is right there. Look at this big melt, man. That's a big melt. I mean, there's no real entry on this. I would have loved to have entered on that first bar, but how do you go about entering that? Maybe the opening range, break it down because it's such a close, a tight opening range. But we're right here at 18.5. We're gonna see if that's gonna hold or if it's gonna start to bounce and see if the break of 18.5 is gonna hold on the breakdown or if a bounce is gonna come into play. These are all 1 minute candles, and if you would have trailed candle to candle on close, you still would be in this trade until right about now. You're gonna watch the delta. You can see right immediately off that 18.502, wicked it, and now rotating back higher. You have VWAP right here, holding right below it. So we gotta just be cautious of VWAP. Russell is pushing up higher, and S&P's still back in their opening range, right? Opening range. The S&P's is still right here. You can see that. But this NQ just really wants to sell off. There's something about it. I guess it's that did I pop that on? Oh, I did. My bad. Just absolutely melting. At 500 holding. I want to see what's going on with Nvidia. Just there it is. 918.13 broke. Now it has down into that 906, 901. Any news on this? No. Goal of the week is to try and get as many funded accounts back as we can and start to hammer out April with a brand new funded month and just start to go, just build that consistency. This week we've been doing pretty well. Monday and Tuesday, both $1,000 plus days on the combines with, just proper execution, proper trails, and risk management opportunities. Right now we are looking at this crazy sell-off coming in here on the NQ. Just kind of immediately right off the jump. This 30-minute candle is just straight down, and you can see Nvidia also straight down. Microsoft pushing downside. Apple pumping. Held that 170.29, so relative strength is in Apple. I'd say 171.83. That level is probably gonna get touched. That's that first area of interest for me for Apple. Microsoft still hasn't got to that pre-market low, so there is some relative stronger names within here. But Nvidia is really dragging us downside. So with Nvidia, the logo, my bad. Yeah, let me send that over now. NG, so I forgot about that. for the stuff. Give me a second. Let's go. Yeah, this is a crazy sell off right now, but I think we're going to kind of hold some support here at 500. I'm looking for something. Send an email quick. Send that email. Transparent, PNG, and I'll throw in this one as well. Yeah, why not? There we go. I sent it, Nick. All right, let's see what happens here. Nvidia just absolutely pushing downside. Probably the only thing that's carrying this down, with Apple just pumping right there. Like I said, once I saw this kind of hold that 170.29, you're ripping up into that 171.83. I'm going to start watching to see if we can get, if this is going to be a base or if it's going to be that rejection of 500 and rotate back higher. But the only way I'm going to do that, I would like to see it at the overnight low, right? Clean up that overnight low, which is right here. Clean it up some, and then maybe look to get that delta divergence down here, even into the low, and then rotate it back to the previous high or overnight high. That's the attack for this, but really it's just, that was just a breakdown, base breakdown type setup at the moment as well, but that's just not something I'm looking to take. The way the market's been acting of late, and the kind of trouble I've got myself in trying to get in front of it right away or follow some through, changing things up. Just kind of wait, be patient. Nvidia just losing it. Like I said, with Nvidia, I mentioned it on Monday, and I think even yesterday, I said if Nvidia gives up certain levels, selling is going to come in hard because people are just so heavy long into this. And they're going to look to see, is now the time that everybody's going to start selling? Is now the time that I don't want to lose my gains, right? Because it's been up since the beginning of the year, and it's been up parabolic every day, all day. So people have made stupid amounts of money on it. They're going to get to the point where they're like, okay, anytime a key level of structure breaks, their trailing stops are probably going to be run. You're going to get more sellers kind of pushing in to see if they could push it down further and further, maybe get better prices on it. But realistically, once you start breaking levels, sellers are going to come in and they're going to come in harder because of the dollar amount, right? Anything up into that $900,000 per share movement is hard for some intraday stuff, right? So you're going to start to see it flush, hard to the downside, and then it'll start to kind of rebound itself, right? You could see it bumps down and then grinds out, pushes back higher as people start saying, okay, it's cheap again, down to that 900 level. Maybe that makes sense. Make a nice round number, get down to 900 to push it back to 1,000. That's kind of what I think about the Nvidia. Microsoft is pushing up. AMD, Google, Meta, Amazon, Apple, right through that 171, like clean through there. So it's definitely diverging. I think we're getting strength in everything but Nvidia. So if Nvidia starts to catch any sort of buy side, then this starts to rotate up more. I want to see what that Delta's doing. Delta hasn't pushed higher. We're trying to make new highs on this, so we're going to watch. We do have VWAP right here, so I don't really necessarily want to try and go long right through VWAP, right? It's a tough trade to take. Right now it could work, but realistically, taking it through VWAP is risky because there is a lot of people who come into the VWAP level to sell off of it, right? You need to see some sort of push up through it, maybe a rebound, retouch of it, and then to the long side. But I would be cautious taking a long through the VWAP. I mean, S&P's is pushing up into the range of the opening range, looking to come back into that 52.93. And we're sitting down here on these lows well below that opening range, which is up here. Russell pushed up, pumped back down, and now it's sitting right at that 2109.90. So we are, that initial move here, about 300 ticks, and now we're kind of just sitting here waiting, seeing which direction it wants to go. If it wants to continue on, if it's going to be a continuation play, are we going to break the low below 500, back down through and into the overnight low, right? Into that overnight low level there, or is it going to make a new higher low here and push up and then make its way back up into that overnight high? Where's the VWAP? It's gone. There we go. I don't know why my VWAP disappeared off of this chart, but it's back. So you can see it's below here. I'm going to see if I can get a little thicker on it. Let me get a yellow line just so we can see it. Nothing, like I said, nothing doing right now. Waiting. Kind of be a little bit more patient with this. Let me see, because my oldest stayed home from school, so I got to kind of be bouncing back and forth. Right now, I don't really have any trades, so I'm gonna give you a second. Give me a minute. I gotta check up on the oldest. I'll be right back. I am back. The realities of life. Training with children. Having a job. One kid's got to leave, the wife's got to go, the other one's sick, so you got to kind of make things work the way you can. And then, that's why you're going to wait for levels to come into play, not hammer into anything, just see what comes out of this and see if we can get any new information that's going to let us decide to make a trade on this. Like I mentioned, the Russell is still pushing upside. S&P is pushing down a little bit, really pretty much middle of that opening range. And NASDAQ just absolutely getting hammered into the lows. Really, I believe, mainly because of the NVIDIA short side push. Oh, this is Day Trading Coffee Company. There we go. So Apple is still pushing higher. Microsoft really in this range here, a little bit choppy for Microsoft. I think it really, if it does break down through the lows, it does have down into that 419, 420 area. But that's if the market continues to sell. It's going to be interesting to see if NVIDIA is just going to keep carrying it down or if it's going to rotate back to highs. Because NVIDIA did run right into this resistance here. down here at the bottom, 907. However, it is super heavy. So like I said, once sellers come in, they just keep coming in because of the reasons like I mentioned. They are going to be selling for just securing profits, trailing stops. After a price moves so hard, so fast, things come back down, things take breathers. But like I think NVIDIA is, once it does break levels, it is something that will continue on to the other end and just kind of push harder and harder because people are just going to be like, oh, now's the time to sell, now's the time to sell. And they're just going to kind of pour into the selling. That's how selling happens like that, fast on those kind of names. AMD just is sympathetic, but it wicked the high of the day, which is interesting. And now it's trying to push up higher. What's Soxel look like? Soxel pushing downside, obviously, because of that SMCI as well, pushing down. Apple's still rocking and rolling. Microsoft's trying to roll over. Google looking to push highs. Amazon. Tesla pushing down lows. Interest didn't quite make it to that 183 yesterday's interest level, but it is at yesterday's low, looking to flush it again one more time. Let's see if it does, then probably down into that 174, 175 level. 175 is likely for Tesla, and there goes NQ again. So that flat bottom break is what is this? Oh. There you go. So that flat bottom break there played out really nicely. I don't like this volume profile at all, so I'm going to try and get rid of it. I don't know how. How do I get rid of this? There we go. Okay. So pushing into that overnight low now. We're going to watch this, see if this is going to just continue to be a trending kind of day or if we're going to get our reversal over to that overnight high. That's really what I'm looking to see, if this is going to be a true move or not. You do have S&P's actually also made the dump, and Russell held up a little. We're right at that second level, that VWAP band down below. We do have yesterday's low, 438.50. Delta is just congruent, so we're just trying to continue to push lower and lower until Delta decides that it's going to give it up. So pretty much a continuation. Like I said, it's really difficult to decide to go long through VWAP because people are using VWAP as an area, as resistance. They use it as an area for entry, trying to get cheap shorts, right? On a strong move down here, that pop into VWAP could be a nice little area to short, right? So you can see that happening. The breakdown of 491 gave you that nice little push. I'm not a very good trend trader, and that's something I'll admit, and I would love to be because it's where you can make a ton of money, right? A move like this where you're at the overnight high, could have shorted it, looked to rotate down to overnight lows, wouldn't have had very much time to do it, right? Less than a half hour, and you would have been in there like swimwear on this nice little move to the downside, for 500 plus some odd ticks, even more now, I think. We're at 450 ticks on that move there. Just unreasonable to think that you could catch that whole thing unless that was your game plan coming in. We're going to short the open. We anticipated this, that, and the other thing, and that's you got a little tweezer top there on the 1 minute. You got the opening range low breakdown. You have the overnight high right here, so you could use that as your risk to reward. Like I said, I mentioned I was up all night with my son. He was not feeling well, so on and off, not all night. The wife was doing a lot of the work, so I can't take all the credit. But just not being up, being ready. My normal routine is a slightly diverted. I didn't take him to school because he didn't go. A lot of those things are going to be all playing into your sharpness, right? So I'm going to watch this another 3 minutes. I can't take any trades until the hourly close anyway. So we're just going to be watching this low, see if that previous day low holds or if it's going to break. And I'm going to shrink this up a touch. I'm going to go over to the Tesla NVDA. Just continuing downside 900 right there. Incoming. The low of the day is 901.55. I got no trades. Not looking to try and just jump into something just because. This short looks crazy. And my son's calling me, so I'll be right back. What up, man? All right, still fucking melting off, huh? Wow. Wow. Would have been nice to take that short off the jump, huh? Once Nvidia starts selling off, there goes the market, right? You have this setup on the 30-minute here, possibly looking to come down now into that 18,359.75 level. That's really the breakout point for this, lower high. So now we're looking to see if it's going to rotate back down. I don't really find this to be useful at the moment, right? This isn't going to do me any good here. It's already broken down into there. So I'm going to just eliminate this trend line there. I think it's done its job for the time being. We need to find new reasons to get in and out of these ideas. So we're just going to draw them up. See if we can get something to kind of set up later on. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth from here to my kid and back and forth. So not really going to be able to be super interactive with a lot of this. And I'm not trying to catch a falling knife. I'm also really bad at trend following because I have this bias of reversals. So trying to follow some of these trends, it's going to be difficult for me on a day like today. I mean, I am a perma bear in this market, so it should have been easy to try and catch that overnight short. But like I said, I wasn't in that mental capacity to just come in, hammer it, and go, all right, I'm letting it happen, because I just didn't have that that setup. I didn't come in early enough. I didn't get over here. Didn't get my son to school. Like, when your routine's thrown off a bit, you're not going to come into the market right away and hammer in. I'm not trying to get any FOMO. I'm not trying to do anything of the nature where I'm going to just get myself into trouble just because I see something that has moved and has, given great opportunity. Doesn't mean that just because I missed it, it doesn't mean that you should just hop into it, right? So we have flushed now previous day's low. We've flushed 2 days ago, the 25th. That's the low from the 25th on that big whip manipulation down through that downtrend, right? Let's see. I mean, that trend line's kind of working. So let's see if it's going to hold the lower end of that. I did draw this up right here as I was starting to go live. I kind of mentioned that I thought that this was a little bit of false information here, breakdown coming back above it. This did hold here. It held here. Once this cracked this low, I know VWAP's right there, but maybe that retest of VWAP and that 510 level, when I drew up that 510 level as resistance from the pre-market session, right? I drew it up as resistance here, so resistance there. We just need to kind of just find that entry point, and that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm just kind of bouncing back and forth. I don't have anything yet. I don't know if anybody else has anything that they're looking at. They're going to trade this. Can't really look to try and catch a reversal on this at the moment. It's just not. It's just heavy. There's a lot of things coming sell side. If you're thinking, hey, Nvidia's gone far enough, it probably hasn't. It probably has down to, even that 877 level you see there with Apple pushing up into highs, if it ever rotates down, you're going to have some help. Microsoft still rolling down, still very heavy, right? So these names here, Deck just said that he does SMCI. I'm sure he did an SMCI short, right? Deck was mentioning SMCI yesterday at 1100. He said if it gets over 1100, he's going to get in on puts. I think he missed it yesterday, but today I don't think he missed it based on the way he said he put it up all morning, and he's up 2,300 on that. So I'm guessing that that's where he was at with that. Nvidia still just kind of rubbing downside. Eight. If you get Apple, just there it goes, man. Espresso thoughts. Express yourself. I don't really, like I said, I don't have much other than we broke yesterday's low. We broke the low from 2 days ago. We are in a downtrend, right? But we are in sort of the bottom end of a little bit of a channel here. It's not a perfect channel, but it's there. You could see like the high end is there. The bottom end is down here somewhere, right? You know, it's not. This is not a perfect science. This is just lines on a chart, but you can see we're kind of at the base of this sort of channel here. Last time we did that for this amount of time was this level here, and we did it, and we rallied on the breakout. Same thing here, chop around, rally on the breakout. So this is I would not trust, based in the way this market reacts, I would not trust this to be a true breakdown quite yet. You know, maybe if it gets that 8360, 8359, 82 here is that high right there. 82 high of that is 65. What's the high of this one? 81. So 81, 18,381 is that high, and the low of this candle currently 87 and a quarter. So that's something to be mindful of, right? That's that previous high that was broken that initiated this kind of big rally to the high side. So, you know, you could kind of limit your risk here if this is the idea you have, but I would like to see maybe a delta divergence set up here, maybe get a wick off bottom on the 1. Or we're not going to get any data on this chart. That's good. That's why we'll go to this. So if you go to the 1 minute, if you see another flush down, delta divergence, right? You don't get that delta to play along, not getting new sellers coming in at lows, coming into that 18,380 and 3/4 level, right? At 81, that's that high, that breakout point. If you flush it and kind of give a pop above, and you got delta starting to get buyers involved, then that could be the reason to get long. Let's see if this will refresh. Yeah. That curl in Apple is not going to help this. This is going to continue to downside. Yeah, everything's selling, so there's not anything telling me go ahead and jump in long. Even if this does give you that little lower high setup, higher low setup, delta divergence type move, I think everything is super, super heavy, so there's not a ton of things to say, hey, do it. Jump in front of this falling knife and try and go long here. Trying to catch bottoms gets you in trouble. Trying to catch tops gets you in trouble. S&Ps is at an area of interest. It does have kind of down into that 52.73. If the S&P bounces from that 52.73 level, then you may get some buying start to come back into the NQs. But it does, you know, if that breaks, then S&P does have all the way down to 52 57, 52, 57. So we're at an area that I am interested in, right? I just don't trust the move to be not continuing downside, right? Because you can see how heavy it is. Straight off that top there, another lower high, now another lower low. We are downtrending. At some point, this flush could just come in and just continue. Like, this is a nice flush here, but we're still within that channel's parameters. So it could just bounce off this low, kind of grind, rally back up. You can see every sell-off has been nice and hard, sharp sell-off, and each rally has kind of ground its way back to the high side. Here as well, boom, rally, kind of grind, another hard sell-off, grind it up, hard sell-off. At some point, these hard sell-offs are going to just start to just get poured into harder and harder, and you're going to start to see the breakdown, right? Then start to maybe kind of get into these levels here, 359, 277. That's where I would be interested in. I would be really interested in this if it hits off on that 60 level. This level right here, that 18,359 and 3/4, 18,360, could really be like an ultimate bounce point. But you can see that flushed the bottom there. Does the delta play along? It pretty much was congruent, right? Delta kind of played along nicely. So I don't really trust this as a bounce quite yet, although it could be. And I have multiple responsibilities, so give me a second. Watch this for a bounce here. Maybe watch that overnight low. Bouncing back and forth, family trading. I'm not FOMOing into this. I do feel also with this tilt 75% long, I don't like that people are trying to pick bottoms here, and I think they'll get run over. So usually I like to fade the tilt, and the tilt's at 78% currently. $82 long. If we get back up into that previous day low, I can anticipate this to come pouring on downside again with that heavy of a tilt to the long side. I like the reversal here. I do think that this is a great area for a buy. I mean, it was obviously it would have worked out at least for 25 points, not ticks, points. That would have gave you a nice little W there, but at the same time, I'm not trying to fight this. This trend doesn't seem like it's over yet. 81% long on the retail side tells me that there is still sellers that are going to come in, pour into this market a bit. So we did bounce right off that bottom end of that channel there. You can see. I mean, limiting your risk to the low side, it's there. You can also see a lot of these in this channel here. If you get a build up, that final push through that little trend line there, it's been working almost every single time. So if I do get something of that nature again, I would not be opposed to limiting my risk on the high side. I just didn't see this, right? I didn't get a chance to set myself up for the appropriate short today, but it was kind of in your face that it was possibly going to happen with this another lower high coming into play. So that was just on me for not being here and being ready. But that's just the way this goes when you're trading and you have other responsibilities, and your routine gets a little thrown off. There's no reason to just hop in and just try and do things just to do them, right? I'm gonna move this chart over here so I could see it more. I don't like to have it. I need one more screen to get everything in that I need. Unless I just go here with it, and I just throw that there, and I can't see shit. There we go. The dome is not super useful. Switching up platforms just for these combines, and then obviously once we get funded with them, we'll be trading on these exclusively. Look, I so tempted on this short with this heavy tilt. Watching this low. Nvidia is curling up. Apple it had a little bit of a pullback down close to that 172, right into 172, and it bounced off of that level, so it's right around that 72, 33 level. But that 73.06 really acted as a strong resistance, so we burnt right through 71. I would be interested in what happens there. Microsoft is rolling still to the downside, still holding below the pre-market lows, pre-market, post-market yesterday lows. Like I said, I think it does have into that 420 level before it decides to have much resistance. Tesla curling. Apple, I'm interested in Apple because of the relative strength it had as opposed to how the market was reacting. I think if you wanted to kind of go in here and think that this was going to still continue short, this manipulative candle here plus an 80+% tilt to the long side could give you that confirmation that another push down into that 400 level at least is possible. If you get Nvidia, it's still rolling over. Nvidia went right up into 900 and is now trying to hold that 950, 901, 901, now breaking through 901. $18,457.50. 457.50. Interesting. That's a very important level. This tilt does help you stay out of some of these FOMO trades of it's going to turn around now and I'm going to go long. With that tilt pushing up into that 80% long, it really just tells you that it's just too many people thinking the same thing here. That institutionally they know that that's what you're thinking here. That say, hey, this is a spot where they want to reverse. Let's try and get one more leg lower potentially. They can move the market. We can't. So So Nvidia failed 900, looking to rotate down. This NQ probably rotates down to 400 again right here. See what happens at that 400. If that tilt meter decides to diminish some on the long side, have people switch to shorts, then potentially look to see maybe if you make another, a higher low here, you could potentially look to rotate it off that. But I think realistically, we are in that downtrend. Potentially look to just keep going down. It's not anything that I have as far as the setup is concerned quite yet. S&P is looking to break down. I did mention that if it did crack that 75, which it just did, we had down to 72.50, which is what we were right about to tick off on. And then below there, S&P has all the way down to 52.57 and a quarter for it to kind of catch up to where the NQ is currently. It's still slightly higher. So if you are looking to see which one's relatively stronger, even though it is still selling off, the S&P is slightly stronger because it just hasn't pulled back as deep, I don't think, as the Nasdaq did. The Nasdaq just super weighted by that Nvidia trade. Really is kind of what I'm thinking is what's pulling this down more than anything. But if the S&P does crack that 72.50, then down into that whippy low from the 26th, and that'll be at 52.63.50, and then down into that 57 and a quarter. Yeah, so that's what I'm watching. I don't know. If you tell me that you have something on this Nasdaq, then that's, let me know. I just don't have it currently. It's not something I'm looking at to trade this. If you look at the difference between that and the S&Ps, there's your S&Ps. How is that being just randomly popped up? This is a base right here. Kind of break that. Then you have down into, I'll give you that 5-minute chart. You have down into here, right? If you break this level there, Alt H there, Alt H here. Those are the levels that I'm watching for the S&Ps. Maybe looking to take the short on them for them to catch up. But also, if it does hold here and bounce, then maybe the NQ follows along too, right? So manipulation maybe below here. I think that's more of a level of support. Obviously, we're up in this level here. That's just that low that I'm interested in. Really it could break down here, but it also does have these wicks to be interested in. That's why I have that level right there at 72.50. So if it holds 72.50 and rotates, then maybe you get everything to kind of rotate around. The Russell's still dead center of its opening range. So it has no directional move yet. It moved upside before, and while everything was moving down, then it kind of caught up, followed to the downside. Now it's trying to push back up. So you got S&P. Maybe I can pull up two. I can. Very nice. Oh, it won't let me do both. There we go. It does let me do both. So now we'll be able to see both here. I'm going to just leave them up here for now. We'll go full screen on that. Let's see how far we could get this. I am an NQ trader, so we're going to do this a little bit more so you can see both. Yeah, I definitely need to get a little bit more cleaned up with the charts for the streaming purposes. I like the way that this is set up, so I'm going to give it a chance for now. I think a breakdown of 72.50 has the NQ continue to follow to the downside. I don't like we're down below that previous day low. I did mention that I think this 81 level 80 flat is going to be an interesting point for us as well. That's more likely my bounce point there, if not 281. I mean, another 100 points and for the NASDAQ isn't out of the realm of possibility on a day like today, where it seems like it's a kind of a trending day to the downside. Not trying to fight that trend, not trying to try and catch reversals right away right now. Like this first attempt at that break back up, still holding previous day's lows. So we are completely into yesterday, 2 days ago's range and below even 2 days ago's range. This was 2 days ago. We are into where we're into that breakout. So we've cleared out yesterday's range, the previous day's range, and now we're into right around where this is going to be more useful information, right? So the high here of 500 down into that 18,281 and 3/4. But there is that resistance here from that breakout point at 80, right? I mentioned that 380 level right here. You can see it wicked it, came back in, held below it, and then once it broke above 80, hey, I saw you run by. And then now it's back up into here. So that's where we're at with the NQ. Analysis-wise, so that 380 level is going to be pretty important for me. You have a base here in your delta, not really making new lows, actually making sort of higher highs here. Same as what was going on with the actual price action. So if you start to get a turn on any of the actual names, Nvidia is starting to look like it wants to hold above 900, but at any moment it could give you that next leg to the downside. You know, look at some of these other names. Microsoft still beat down, like I said, down to 420 is going to be support. Apple, want to see if it holds at 171.83. If it doesn't hold that and it gives it up, then the downside move on the NQ probably continues on, because this is the relatively strong name within the basket of the Magnificent Seven names. So let's see. AMD curling some, SMCI curling. You got a little bit of a U-shaped bottom there. Maybe that helps the Nvidia trade bounce back to the high side, which then helps NASDAQ, which also helps Apple, which also helps Microsoft, right? They kind of all just are intertwined a bit. And then you do see some disconnect, right? Because you did see Microsoft, you saw Nvidia selling off. I think we said Google sold off. We said Meta was pushing downside. We had Amazon. We had Tesla. Everything was pushing downside except for this young man right here, Apple. So Apple was completely disconnected, diverged, did what it wants. It actually seems like that's the case a lot. I've noticed it over the last week, 2 weeks. You'll see Nvidia pumping and then Apple just melting off. And then as soon as Nvidia starts to turn, Apple turns the other way. So it seems like there's a disconnect. If whatever is Nvidia's doing, Apple seems to be doing the opposite, right? Nvidia, you see Nvidia selling, you see Apple pushing higher. We'll do a 30-minute. Let's see if we can correlate this. Right here, you got a big sell-off in Apple on Thursday, the 21st of March. Thursday, the 21st of March. Right there. So you got a rally, immediate rally on the open in NVIDIA, and you got a huge sell side in Apple. Apple started to kind of grind around here, but it caught a little bit of a bid. You can see as soon as Apple starts to push upside, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen where I am on the right, that little dotted line is on the left. So as I'm pushing up, NVIDIA is kind of pushing down a bit. Now Apple's pushing down. Post-market, NVIDIA is pushing up. Apple opens and dumps. NVIDIA opens and pumps. We rally some in Apple. NVIDIA pauses. We sell off on the open. Everything sold off on the open there. So there was lack of divergence on that. Sold off again. Everything sold off. Now back to the divergence. Apple pumps and NVIDIA dumps. So very interesting that there's that slight correlation. I don't know how accurate, it will play out and how long it'll stay. But that seems to be something that may be happening. But if you start to see NVIDIA curling and Q curling, then maybe that goes away. Right? You see that curl here. I like that. Let's see if Microsoft holds that 420. Seems like it's trying. There's that tilts back to 78, pushing back into that 78% long. So, oh no, they're both. S&P is 60% long, NQ is 80% long. I'd say that that's also another divergence, right? The average long price is 18,419, which is right here. Not super, they're not deep in the money. But the shorts are negative. Their average price 428, so they're out of the money slightly. I think that the shorts are still probably in good shape with that 81% long, and the S&P is only 63% long. So there is a divergence in the longs. You get maybe a whippy candle here, another pullback into 400. I did mention that right here. We were going to pull back from that 34 down to 400. We pulled back right to 400, 403, the low of that candle. And this tilt got up into that 80%, so I kind of don't like this as the reversal quite yet either. Once this tilt stops getting that heavy long as we push up, then that's when I'm interested in maybe this is the time that it actually does break and go. It's kind of going to just bounce around and dance some, I think, right now. I don't think we're going to get a lot of movement at the moment. Don't have to trade. I'm here. I'm streaming every day. You can see what I'm doing, what I'm not doing. And right now, like I said, I missed out on that short move to start from that overnight high. My normal strategy is fade the overnight high and the overnight lows and look to kind of rotate the other side. Obviously, you can see the overnight low got burnt right through today. Here's the overnight low is right here, that yellow line. We burnt right through it. That trade, overnight high to overnight low, happened within 5 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. This is a 5 minute. Never mind. It happened within a half hour. Okay, so 30 minutes of this. Let me get back into the 1 minute. High or low. Getting into that previous day low. Tilt is still up in there in that 77%, which is pretty high for me. For that to be that long side bias. If we get another wick above this previous high, manipulation at that previous day low, see if it'll reject previous day's low and then rotate back down through the 400 level as a continuation for this short play to continue on to the downside. think NVIDIA cracking 900 would really give us that added confidence that the short continues on. So that's really kind of where I'm at with this. I like this measuring tool that I use for my 70 some odd ticks. Still a bit much, 40, 50 ticks. $200 there. $300 there. $450. NVIDIA actually catching a little bit of a bid, but then right immediately kind of running its head into that 905 level as a resistance. Delta trying to push new highs. You could see broke through that previous high. Not even close here. Not even close to making new highs in Delta. So like I said, I think that we're still in that downtrend. There's nothing really telling me that this wants to reverse yet. And I also think that potentially this could be a short opportunity for you if you look to take that breakdown. 81% long on the tilt, maybe just take this real quick short down to that 400 level on that final push, that last leg to the downside, at least get some manipulation on the people, right? Sell one here, down here below, and then see if that'll go. If we can get like a very whippy manipulative candle here, right above that previous day low, I may be interested in getting short right here, right up against that previous day low. I'll take that short. It limits my risk, even if I take a quick loss on it, because I'm not risking very much above that previous day low. If we do get triggered into this, I'm kind of coming in a little bit early on it. I just like that tilt being super heavy long. For me, I think we're just in an area where there's still just not, there's no way that there's a decision to be made right now on going long yet. I think we're still in a max pain situation where we could potentially rip through lows. This is based on the tilt, based on the delta divergence. Delta divergence, right? Can't really quite get there. Russell's running. Russell's running high side, and S&P's held that low. I'm only going one contract with these. I'm pretty close to passing this first combine. So if I do get this short here, I will look to just take it probably down to 400. I think that'll be plenty for the profit target, 30 points. Actually might leave me just shy. Because I do need to make slightly more than the $3,000 target, but it's all right. 80% long. NVIDIA just still struggling to kind of get back above the 906, 905 level. So I do think that, like I said, if this tilt is anything where it's, kind of telling us that all these retail guys are long here, I think maybe some sort of manipulation, and then out, down, one more leg lower. That's what I'm going to try and play for the short side. Like I said, we're downtrending. We started the day downtrending. The break above here, it wasn't super powerful. Our tilt is super high. Our delta is not giving you follow through on that push to the high side. So I think a break through this candle here, this breakout candle back to the low side, gives you a nice little risk to reward to rotate back down to lows. So that's where I'm at with trade. idea. And if that's the trade idea, we're going to throw out a setup alert. Let's go. New little animation I got going on. Potential sell here. Position alert. I'm going to get into the tilt here. Position. We are short one at the 18,431 level. So we got the position board updated. We got our stop is going to be just above that breakout point, and if it goes up above again, then we'll be out. But right now, I think if we do continue low, we could get down into the lows of the day down here. So just talking through why I took this trade, why I entered in here, why I wanted to go short as opposed to kind of using this as a reversal idea. I saw that the tilt was super heavy long. Tilt really indicates that there is a lot of retail getting long at a certain level as opposed to the institutional buying that you would consider. Like the tilt meter here just kind of gets really heavy, and then when it's heavier on one name as opposed to the other, like the S&Ps wasn't as tilty to the long side. You know, anytime you start to get people getting longer at higher points during a trending day to one side or the other, that's usually when it starts to turn around and get the other direction. So that's why I entered in tilt. The delta also just was not playing along either. So you have delta really coming in strong to the sell side here. If we can crack this low here, get down through 420, I think that our target gets hit pretty easily without much resistance if it does kind of continue to go. S&Ps is trying to go lower as well. So we are acting in unison at the moment. If NVIDIA can crack 900, then this goes down one more leg to the downside. There we go. Nice little flush there. I'm going to want to see this get a little bit lower down into that maybe 415. If it can get through 420, like I said, 420 is that level that they love to play with. You know, traders are ironic. So if we can't get through 420, then we may rotate higher. But I still think that that delta push with NVIDIA trying to get back down through 900 could really give us that little one more leg lower. At 420, trying to hold. I'm trying to leave my risk alone. We were basically at that $3,000 mark, but we need to make $300 more based on the way they calculated the highest day's profit. So can't be more than 50%. So if you go, you have to go a little bit over that $3,000 mark. So let's see if this will now give us that flush on the retest of the break of the trend. Unless NVIDIA starts to catch a bid here, right? The tilt has gotten a lot less heavy, so the tilt there, the entry was good as far as that was concerned, but now it kind of got rid of some of those longs, and now it may look to make the actual move once those longs are gone. But 50-50 on the NQ, on the ES, and the ES is pushing lows. I think if ES can get through 5270, 250, then you'll get a nice, really hard break to the downside. Right, that level right there, that blue line, should give you that resistance, but it's also a good spot where there's going to be a stop run. You know, sellers kind of looking to get involved at that point. So, looking to get this below 420. 420 is that area where I'm going to be really happy to have this thing get through. I want to see what Apple is doing. Apple rotating higher again. NVIDIA sort of turning, but I think it's going to try and break that 900 one more time. If we get to 420 here, I'm going to go to break even or just above this little whip. And I just want to be kind of mitigating my risk on it because that could be a bounce point. And it's also just, if we flush that low, it should continue on. If it doesn't, then I would probably be out anyway. So I want to be out ahead of taking a loss. I'm scalping, right? I'm not really looking to get giant moves out of these things. So I need to be wrong quick. But it looks like I'm right. NVIDIA just broke 900, so we should break 420. We're at 420. We're at break even. So we either make the profit target to pass the combine, or we don't, and we are out for break even. I'm just looking to see how long I can hold this. I want to see if 420 is going to break or bounce. And like I said, if it bounces, I don't want to be involved above that level where I got in because it just seems like it's going to shoot up and rocket out. So I want to give it the room to break even, to let it see if it wants to crack the low. If it doesn't want to do that, I want to be out. But I want to get through the low so I can at least start to take some of these profits and start to trail my way down to the full profit target. I believe my actual target is $3,338. $5,338. So if you see this hit $5,338, oh, I'm in the wrong combine. Oh well. So we'll see if we could take this one short too. Order filled. Risking to the break-even point. Well, that sucks, but let's see if we can get off on it now. So this one can make 1,500. The other one, unfortunately, I decided that I was going to be on the wrong combine. So there's that lack of focus coming in to show its face. But here we go. We are moving down. We are up 250. We're at that 53,000 mark. So anything over that, I would like to, I'm going to secure this. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to go to secure to break even, I should say, and see if I can get down into my target. Yeah, we're going to stay there. Where am I at? Got to go back to the other one. So there's the reason why I took that trade. I'm glad that we got in on it. Really just making great decisions on patience, using the tools that we have at our disposal to make good choices, to be able to try and pass these combines, get ourselves back funded, execute with proper risk management, and then also at the same time, just be able to, maximize our gains at good locations. I don't ever really want to take heat on my trades, right? I want to be able to enter in and be right pretty fast, be wrong pretty fast, and go from there. So unfortunately with this trade, I did get into this one late. So I can't really say that I did a great job on this one because I was in the wrong combine. So fuck me, right? I'm going to let it try and dance around some, but it does have a spot where it's going to catch a bid here potentially. So the other one I believe is stopped out. This one's probably going to get stopped. I'm going to leave it there for $30. I keep wanting to go to that. Yeah, so we're out on both of these. This one we made 327 on that short. I'm going to just flatten all, make sure everything's good. Like I said, fortunately, I was in the wrong combine. But we are up 327.20 on that trade, and we caught most of it. So very nice there. Going to update the position board to flat. Flat. P&Ls, we are up 327 on that trade, and we're flat. However, I may look to try and for that. I'm not going to FOMO in, but so this is at 52,050. Somebody's here. I think I got answer the door for a second. So we're up $27 on this account. Nope. You good?
No,
What?
just, I got a notification. I have an appointment with my doctor for my sonogram.
For when?
I know,
Huh?
I know.
Right now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, I'll help out. All right, we got $27 on this one. We were gonna pass it. We were up over 53. Kind of just we would have been in probably close to past if we would have had our normal entry. We did not get it. It is what it is. But now we're just gonna watch this. Potentially could be the true setup here. But we are up 327 on that other account. So maybe we just focus over here. That account's up over 52,000. So we're up over 2,000 plus on that account for the week. Yesterday we didn't catch anything on this one, so we kind of made up for it, kind of catching up the account. But I would like to get one more good entry. That entry was ideal right there, right? We got in just above that on the failed break above, rotate down in through to the lows here. Well, I mean, that was a great execution there. Waiting to be patient, got our move, and then secured as much as we could on that. I was considering that 400 level was probably going to be front run, and that'd be the target. So, just a quick little scalp kind of move, but we did catch that. That was nice. Pretty good on there. Up 327. Yeah, I got my wife texting me about stuff. I got to bounce back and forth between the kids and the stream and the kids in the stream, and it's a busy day today. So we up 327. We're on the wrong combine there, so we didn't quite pass that combine yet, but we're looking to get that one done as well. This is my wife, very nice. Number 2 prostitute in all of Kazakhstan. 5 minutes to 10 here Central Time. Really don't like to make trades within that 5 minutes of an hourly close. Just don't like to see that happening. Give me a few minutes to be pausing on this, waiting for the 10 o'clock hour to kind of come in and close. Is this going to be a continuation to the downside? What's going to happen to NVIDIA? Will NVIDIA break 900, or will it hold this needing to go downside to kind of carry the NQ back down? I did mention that 400 level act as a key level. We got ES. I'm gonna actually pop it back up over here because I did like it. The ES slightly broke below that 5270, kind of just gave it a little wick, and now it's trying to rotate above and hold. It's not very strong though. It sort of looks weak. So we do have all of this congestion here from a couple days ago. We had a huge wick down, and now we're looking to see if it's going to break and hold below that 52.72.50. I think everything starts to follow through, and then you kind of trade the S&P levels using the Nasdaq. That's how I'm doing it. I got 4 minutes till the hourly close. Give me 1 minute. I got to just check up on what's going on. I'm not going to make a trade at this second anyway, so I'm not trying to just hop back in on something that didn't follow through. So just give me 1 more minute. He said, I just told him I was just gonna write him a note. All right, back in action with my brother Bebo. S&P is holding that 52, 72.50. 10 o'clock comes right in right now. We're going to see if NVIDIA can hold this 900 and start to rotate back, making new highs. Then maybe the NQ starts to follow, because Apple was carrying this, kind of rotating higher. If you can get some NQ strength, maybe your Apple starts to roll back up higher as well. Microsoft making a low base though. You see all this garbage noise here, trying to grab some liquidity maybe to push it back downside. But if you can crack the high there at 21, then the rotate's on. I think 420.50 breaks. However, it looks like a low base kind of crack setup. NVIDIA just, it's scary. That's the thing. NVIDIA is scary to me because it just loves to just do things like this and then right back to the high side. So, any sort of pause in NVIDIA gives me pause. But you're starting to break down through 900 again. See if we can get this rotate, right? You kind of see this. This is not tradable except for what we took based purely off of tilt, delta divergence, and levels, right? That's what got us to be able to make that profit and be up 327 on this account here. I just was in the wrong one, but that would have put us over that $3,000 mark. I was trading that one, so we're up. I only grabbed break even on this one. So we're looking to see maybe we can get this rotate back through. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't need it. These lines are useful when they're useful, and then they are messy in my eyes when they are not. So I don't want to see them. I delete them off the screen. Going to watch the delta divergence once again, see if we get that follow through. Looks like, we pushed down through, trying to push up higher. Delta gave us right into that low resistance. See if we can flush through that 410, that 400 level. 400, you bounce off 400. You gave some manipulation here at 400, 18,380, 75 was that high of that breakout point from the previous week. So we're going to bounce off that, and then we're right above 400. So I think a flush of 400 gets us probably through that 380 also. So especially every selling point, the delta push to the downside is congruent. The buying isn't really heavy, so the selling is coming in a lot harder. S&P looking, kids yelling and screaming. NVIDIA breaking 900. We're at 410. That 400 level. If that 400 level goes, I think maybe we do get that follow through down to, like I said, that 380 here. But beyond 380, we are looking at 359.75, so 360, that 18,360-ish level of where I'm interested as well for maybe a bit bounce, maybe a target, just an interesting level for me. There's not a heavy tilt either way for the retail end. So 50-50 on the tilt. You got this little kind of head and shoulders type pattern here. I don't really like to trade patterns so much, but they do follow through here and there. I will just kind of notate that is there. You can see it, right? Shoulder, head, shoulder. If we crack through this 400 level, look down into this range here. I do believe, that's that measured type move through there. We are in a trend, so that trend is to the downside. Is continuation likely? That's up to the market makers to decide, not me. I do not have conviction on this sell, though, just based purely on the way this NQ has been unreasonably, rallying on days where it shouldn't be. And, really, there's not should or would. It's just the market is what it is. That's what, the more you could realize it is what it is, the better you're going to do. That's when I started to do a little bit better. Let me just make sure that the young man is okay. I want to see this break though right here potentially, but Nvidia is bouncing again, so you're probably just going to get a lot of chop around this area. Give me a minute. Daddy duties. All right. Nvidia is still flirting with the 900. Starting to get that tilt pushing into the 60% range. Nothing doing. This kind of price action to me is a basing pattern for. It's a basing pattern here for a short continuation potentially. You do have this. Right? If you do crack that level on both of these, then you potentially look to see the follow through come in. We are still trying to hold that wick bottom here from Monday. Sitting here up 327 on one account, 27 on the other. Kind of thought I was on one account. Did not read the numbers correctly, but still up. Good trade there that we took on the failure of that previous day low down to basically that 400 level. I could have been a little bit quicker with the trail, but I got myself a little distracted on it. Sup, Jofi? How we doing? Just sitting here trying to pass a couple combines for the week, start my April off right, and then start to get everybody into a good rhythm here, being patient, waiting for levels to come into play, and going from there. I'm watching Nvidia trying to hold itself below 900. Although this does look like it's creating a lower high, there's not a lot of follow through on this. If this does fail to break down again, NVIDIA loves to get bid up kind of fast. So I want to just be mindful of this level here, that 890, 750. 897.50. If that kind of cracks, you might get some volume pouring back into it and see if that short will come into play. With that NVIDIA coming in, that could help us get this next leg to the downside, right? Not that I'm looking for a measured move from that high there, but I do think that once we do break and hold below 400, that 380 level, obviously we tagged it once. If we crack 380 down into this 330 to 360 level is interesting to me, right? That's kind of like my follow through to the downside kind of idea. I'm going to see if we can get this to play out. We're going to go with this account, see if we could get this funded. So I am going to just take a cheat on it, maybe, see if I can anticipate the breakdown here. We are still kind of hovering along here. A break of 400 this time could be the real deal. We're looking at the delta actual looking like it wants to get heavy as well, so that's good. But this really kind of all dependent on NVIDIA. Microsoft just broke its low, or trying to break its low. It's right sitting at it. And then Apple is still curling high side. So it's really, Apple's been diverging. Every time it pushes up, the NQ pushes down along with NVIDIA. So I'm watching both of those. Hell yeah, good job. Yeah, I'm technically only 200-ish away, but I have one day that's a little bit higher than the 50%, so I got to make 300 more. So, right around the same deal as you, right in that same range there to try and pass two more. I'm trying to get them done this week, so April we could roll into with a couple more funded accounts here. So we're going to see what happens here. A breakdown, like I said, of 400. This resistance area could get us some follow through to that 80, and then be below 80. I mentioned we have into 77, 60, 320 still is fair as well. But 360 to 320 is that idea below. 62% long at these lows, giving me the idea that potentially the harder trade is to short. To continue this to the low side. I want to break confirmation though. I want it to break here and hold. So I'm going to let this candle try and close below here and not just take it on the breakdown, because that whippy kind of move will get me involved and then get me stopped out and then probably go in my direction. But you do have, like I mentioned, that little head and shoulders type deal. This guy's got 4 shoulders, shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder, diminishing, lower highs, lower high, lower high, lower high. Maybe that does induce a short squeeze type play here, where this does break above here and start to run up to highs. But that'll have to do with NVIDIA breaking as well, which it kind of looks like it is doing at the moment. So I'm going to be cautious on that. Whichever way it goes first, I think is going to be the manipulation, right? If this gives you like a false break above the 20 level and comes right back in and comes into here, I think the break of 400 is actually going to be the true move. This kind of, or if you get that first move here, stop run, liquidity sweep to the low, and then run to the highs, it's another possibility. So these are the things you got to think of, especially in a chop like this. It is a trending day to the downside. Immediately from the open, we've been selling nonstop until we reached right here at this 400 level. This is a decision point. Price wants to be here. There's a lot of trade being facilitated, but the volume has diminished quite a bit. We're in the volume lows. We're entering lunch, getting closer to lunch. This is a holiday shortened week. There are potential profit taking implications coming in. There's not a ton of news today. You had oil rig counts, and that's about it, or oil reserves.
crude oil stock changes. And that was just higher oil, more oil. So we did break above that 420. NVIDIA is starting to fail 9. So maybe you rotate this low here, and then you're front running the breakdown of 400, and then you're able to mitigate your stop if it is just a liquidity sweep to being stopped out at 420 as opposed to for break even, instead of taking that full risk up into that area and being liquidity sweep rotation back to VWAP. So that's kind of what I think. I don't know what else to look at here. Like I said, we're up 320 on one, 27 on the other. I'm not really looking to just hammer into things just to hammer into things. I had this cool little feature here. If I do have a setup that's coming into play, I'm going to rock the light show. Let me know what you think of that. I'm going to use that anytime I see some sort of setup coming into play, or if I'm in a position, you'll know if there's no blue and reds coming and we're kind of just hanging around, doing some directed, hanging out, not really looking to do much of anything. So if there's no red and blues, then I'm just chilling. I'm not looking at a setup at the moment. I'm not really getting anything out of that. So, I mean, you can see the breakout here of this little wedge. That 400 level held pretty nicely. It's not a setup that I'm looking to take. I don't trust it yet. Maybe if we start to see some higher lows, maybe a big push, come back down into here, then reclaim that previous day low. But then the VWAP is going to come right in there. So we're going to have to, anything below VWAP, you're going to be looking to take shorts. Anything above, you're going to be on that long side. That kind of eliminates any sort of trying to go long right here. If it does come in and you get above and you start to hold maybe the overnight low, you could rotate back up. But if it comes back into that overnight low or even into the previous day low once again, watch for that heavy tilt coming in and then maybe that rotation back down through the lows. But until then, we're kind of just in this little choppy range, and there's not a ton of opportunity here. It's not really a trade. It's just prices moving back and forth. You're barcoding. NVIDIA's holding below 900. Microsoft is making that similar kind of base. You can see right here. Big push down, a little U-shape, basing out, looking to try and crack through that 420, 50, and then down lower. Microsoft has plenty of room to the downside to go, and Apple was pushing higher, but it's making sort of a lower high at the moment. Let's check out our Tesla, bruh. Tesla giving you that little bit looks like almost about a 50% retracement into this big move down. I like Microsoft, seeing if that's going to crack that low right now. If it does, then maybe NVIDIA follows through too. Let's see. Absolute crushed it. Deck did today. 22-21 in puts on SMCI. I mean, really, if I was in my right frame of mind, wasn't kind of not really. I came into today not in my A+ rest, A+ mentality, A+ focus. So I made it a point to not execute anything right away off the jump. And of course, today, right on the open, you got that immediate sell off. somebody prepared, somebody like Deck at who had the day ready to go. That short pretty much clearly showed itself. This was the overnight high, right on the overnight high. That's where we were. I am very simple with my levels. I use previous day high, previous day low, overnight high, and overnight low, and then I use the close. But pretty much yesterday's close was yesterday's low, and the overnight high was pretty much the open, right? A lot of times what I like to see if it opens up in that range to get a little bit of a failure, some sort of setup. This didn't really set up on me. It just was up, down, fail, go. And it just didn't give you time to react to it. The only real play that I did have on this, if I really was going to take it, was the opening range low breakdown trade. Then if you wait for that opening range breakdown, there is that breakout candle that pushed you over that overnight high, which is really, it didn't, because that is pre-market high. You break down that range low, and then you have to be ready to go on it. You risk at a high there, and then trail it down as you see fit. Probably to VWAP is where I would have ended up taking it. And now you're rotating all the way down into, if you had the VWAP as a stop, you never really would have stopped out, and then you would have hit off on that overnight low target. Once I get down into the overnight low target on an account that I can make, whatever I want, you start to trail candle by candle, maybe put the stop above that overnight low. Now we're kind of in that range where you get that next leg down. You clear a previous day low. I probably would have ended up getting stopped somewhere in that previous day low range. If I did get a big flush down here, I may have been in this area. It just really depended on price action. But I did not execute that trade. So we're just talking in hindsight on how we could have maximized our gains on this. Really, honestly, if your plan is fade overnight high to overnight low, if you took that initial short and risk to the high, you could have even trailed candle by candle close and never been stopped out until, let's see, candle by candle, there. If you really were just doing candle by candle and didn't stop at VWAP, you would have been probably stopped out right here, right here at 508. But you go down into here, fast moves, fast trails, looking for just quick profits on this. If you're looking to get to the overnight low, if that's the plan, usually my first target is VWAP. If I have two contracts on, I'll take the first one off at VWAP, leave the other one a little bit higher up, and then kind of trail it. That once that holds below VWAP, trail it with VWAP until I can get into my target. And then once I get closer to my target, start to trail it tighter. And that's how I play those rotations. But usually I like to get it set up. It doesn't usually happen immediately. We open up usually in between the overnight high and overnight low range. You can see we're just kind of sitting here in this basing pattern. NVIDIA also just sitting here in this right below that 950 level. You can see it goes pretty far back, but if it does crack, I anticipate down into that 889, 890, and then even down into that 882, 887, 877. Almost 1030 here, and we've been pretty much since 9 o'clock just sitting here on these lows, haven't really made any moves. We did take that one trade here based on the delta divergence, the key level. We took the short here at the previous day low, and we got ourselves stopped out down here. We saw that price pushed up into the previous day low once. The tilt got pretty heavy long up into that 80%. I said at this point, if it does manipulate like it did, you probably rotate back down to 400, which is basically what we did. We front ran it by 2 points. We did the same thing again, but we got into the previous day low. We shorted right through. Once it came up here, closed, came back down through. We shorted this right here, breakdown of that, and we trailed it out. We ended up getting stopped out on the pullback here for $327. Could have rotated it further. Actually, we ended up getting stopped out up over here because it did push pretty much all the way down. And then that breakdown. So we got stopped out right there at 420-ish. We did now just kind of anticipate that breakdown below this support, but right now we're just ranging. There's not a lot of information, not a lot of new moves, nothing telling me either way. Let's go. Good job, Jofi. You using Apex still? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I might, once I get these two passed here, I'll probably try and go for the third, and then I'll go from having all three Top Step accounts, and I think I'm gonna do Take Profit Trader for the next set of combines. Good stuff, Jofi. It's all about patience, the reason I've lost. Oh, hell yeah, that's awesome. That's great stuff. Gotta love it when people are taking money out of these prop firms and making them work for them. The reason I burnt my other ones was just trying to be too much of a FOMO, too much trying to chase into things. I got a little bit away from my normal strategy. Trying to stream and do everything. I kind of wanted to make it so I would just execute while I'm on here. And then if I didn't, I would look to see if I can get something after, maybe later in the day, and force something in. It kind of just really ruined my plan. So over the last week or so, I've been just kind of sticking to setting up my levels and just being really, really patient, waiting. And then in between, having that conversation and doing things that are, helpful. Because really, this is not tradable. I mean, it is. If you can figure out how short the high and buy the low and just kind of scalp that out, good for you. But for me, that's not a tradable setup for me right now. This thing could either do one of two things or one of three things. Until 11 o'clock, it could go straight here between the previous day low and 400. It could just do this the entire rest of the day. At some point, it could make a decision. It will manipulate, right? This is an accumulation. So the accumulation will happen. Is this the manipulation? I don't think so. I think since we're in this area here, it's slowly making little lower highs. It's going to kind of just get into a point where it needs to break and find new price action, new discovery. So is it going to whip one way and then go the other, right? Are we going to see something like this where, we have this going on here? Will this break above here just like it did right there and then finally break through that 400 level down into that 350 and then beyond? We are in a downtrend, so that seems likely, right? Or is it just going to immediately break here, maybe a retest and go, or just a straight down and go? Or will it do the head fake to the low, not quite make a new low here, or even make a new low, and then start its run back higher? There's a few potential ways that this can go. And as long as you have like an idea of what they may do, then you have at least... Trying to get rid of all these. There we go. I don't like having all those drawings on there, but yeah, it's just kind of understanding what the price wants to do and how it gets it done. In order for it to go down, it wants to grab liquidity somewhere that, maybe it's up here. Maybe it's going to grab some more of the orders up here and then rotate down. If it wants to go higher, it's going to try and get people involved short. So people are going to sell it to them down here and they'll buy it back up. Is that what's going to happen right now? We are trying to approach that 400 level again. Does it crack and hold? Right? I need a hold below here, maybe a retest, and then the short. That would tell me a bit more. But if this is going to be, like I said, like a manipulation downside, rotate back higher, then maybe we catch that long above 420 and up into VWAP. Especially with this chop. When you get chopped like that, it's very manipulative. They're going to try and get you in on one end and then get you out. And then get you in again and get you out. Right? So this seems like it's increasing volume, but the increasing volume is pushing higher, right? Does the delta give us any information? Delta pushed lower. So we got a really strong delta push to break down below here, and price didn't follow through very strongly. So there are retail sellers coming in and maybe couple large buyers sitting right here waiting to accumulate that order to push it higher. That's my thought on seeing the delta push so strongly to the downside and price not follow through. But we are still a little bit long tilted, which is interesting. The Microsoft breakdown was much cleaner, right? Move down, base out, and then that first real break of that base. There wasn't much manipulation going on there, right? Just break down and go. Right to 420, below 420, holding 420 down into 419.11 is a nice little target for it. 419 even. With that following through, and NVIDIA rolling, then now this seems more likely that it's going to be not a manipulation. It's starting to give you a little bit of follow through on it, breaking this level here. So if we get that push back up into 400, maybe we look to take the short there down into that 380, below 380, down into the 50s. Obviously, I have that 81 level down there. That's a little ways away, but, measured move happening, from even that leg there to that leg there. It's not out of the realm of possibility. NASDAQ it has the ability to move a whole lot, and it has the ability to do it pretty fast. So this S&P rejecting that level. So if an S&P front run long side might be what it is. Let's go. Don't force it now. Don't force it. Just because it's 70. I know I've gotten basically to the target and then have burnt on trailing just because I was an asshole and decided to just keep hammering the button to make that $70. $70 is quick. You can do it real easy, but then you're like, oh, I can do it easy. I'm just gonna hammer this button right here. There's no way it doesn't go back the other way and starts to roll and run, and then you like FOMO and you start to panic and you revenge trade, and everything leads to that account not making it. So don't force it. If you end the day $70 away, end the day $70 away. You have tomorrow. There's no rush in getting that funded. You already have a 2K payout waiting for you. Hold off. Wait for that next good setup and then hit it. Yeah, I've done this. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been funded and in payout, like where I could get a payout more times than I can count, and I've drawn down and burnt it. Like, that's something that every day that I'm here, that I'm streaming, and I'm improving my ability to be patient and wait for setups and get to levels and do things the appropriate way with risk management. I'm one day closer to never doing that ever again, right? Can I say never? That's silly, because maybe not. But I just don't want that ever to come back into, that monster shows its face. I think everybody who's traded futures or any sort of funded account or any trading, has experienced that kind of pain. Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to do. You could blow these accounts because you just get so profit target hungry. You get, like right now, I could pass 2 accounts with one good trade right now, but I just don't see that opportunity. I don't want to force in a short here right now, and we're reclaiming 400, right? That breakdown retest, yeah, I think that would be a good idea, getting a punching bag or something. I just need to see what's going on with the video here. NVIDIA needs to go carry this lower. But as we are bouncing. What are we doing with Delta? Like I mentioned, the Delta pushed really hard to the downside with the breakdown. It even pushed lower than these lows, but we never made new lows in price, and the price just didn't follow through the same way the sellers came in. So could this be the point where they want to get you involved, or is it going to be a follow through and actually push lower? We're going to have to wait and see on that. But usually I tend to see when we're in a consolidation such as this, that first move is usually the wrong move, and then they stop you out and run you over. So I'm going to be patient on it, especially on a day like today. I'm up 320 on the account. One trade away from passing this one that I'm on right now, and I'm just kind of being a little bit patient. I do like it, though, with the S&P holding 52.72.50 and this manipulation lower to grab that liquidity and push it up. The NASDAQ tilt meter at 65, S&P at 55% long. So I'm just watching those. You know, realistically, I don't need to catch this right here to get on the long side. I would like to even see if you pushed above 420 and wicked out some of these people and then rotated back down through 400. That would interest me in the short. You know, if we could get up over 420, because it's a kind of an obvious stop location. If this is that first manipulation move, hell yeah. Great job, Jofi. Just keep racking up the funding, keep racking up the accounts, take those payouts, and just start, you know, doing smart things with your money. I like it. So you're starting to see both of these acting together, rejecting key levels. 52.75.50 for the NQ, for the ES, 72.50, and the 400 level on the NQ. I did mention that the S&P has more room to go to kind of catch up to where the S&P to where the NQ is. The NQ had broke down that opening range low and went straight down. The S&Ps did, but it didn't go as far down. It didn't ever really reclaim this low here from the other day. How we took out that low right over here. We took out this low there. So NQ is slightly weaker. I'm basing it purely on the NVIDIA trade there. Catching a little bit of a bounce. Let's see what happens at 420. If it doesn't get above 420 even, then maybe that's short through 400, but do see this here as well. Kind of holding. I don't remember what he said last time, how long he's been trading. NQ made a higher low. If we do break this little wedge and start to pop above 420, and it has to hold up there, I would maybe look to see if it's going to start to give its retracement back up into that 50% range, at least into 450. But I'm really not sold on it quite yet. I want to see maybe that this kind of wicks over 420 here and comes right back down in. If it does that, that next breakdown of 400, I'm going to take as a short. Might not make it up there to 420. Yeah, absolutely. I think I've been trading on and off since 2017, and it's still a challenge because I mean, like if you don't take it seriously fully, you're learning strategy, you're jumping strategy to strategy. You start in forex, you go to fucking stocks, you go jump around. There's so much you could learn. There's so much information. There's so many opportunities as far as what you could trade, how you could trade, do option stocks, shares, fucking just short only, like everything you got to find what your niche is and then go from there. And I think really futures lends itself, I think, a lot to a more wide variety of people because there are so many different things you could trade. And then now there's so many different options. It's a little less regulated than the stock market. So you can get in and the ease of access is better than that. Right. Yeah. Futures. I mean, I like futures. And then, like I said, yesterday I mentioned that once I get myself back into the groove, start taking my payouts and this and developing my NASDAQ and ES, trading, which is what I mainly focus on, I might start to look into some of the others like crude and gold. I just kind of like having another little piece, but that's the beauty about futures. You could have, access to all these other things. Yeah, there's just too much opportunity here with these names like Top Step, Apex, Take Profit. Some of the crappy ones have come and gone, and the cream of the crop has stayed. So it's pretty nice to see that there is actually companies that are doing the right thing and paying people out, and Yep, it's true. I don't like options. That Delta, I mean, the Greeks are just trying to keep track of it, and then it's just not enough. It's too much. They were created as hedging tools, and then they became trading vehicles, and it's just become like a very too much information going on instead of just clicking the button, understanding how much price per tick is, how much you're risking, how many contracts you want to trade, and sizing up pretty much exactly to scale or scaling down. Futures is so easy to do. Like when you're in stocks, you gotta go and how big is this stock? I can't trade too many shares of Nvidia. I want to trade Nvidia, but it's $950 a share. So, I can only trade a couple of them as opposed to I want to take 1,000 shares of something that's, a couple bucks. It's really just trying to calculate, all of that is just a pain in the ass. Although it's doable. It is doable. And I do like it. I did trade with T3. I have my Series 57, which just allows you to trade with prop firms on the stock market. I have SIE Series 57. So there is money to be made, and if you could do it the right way with those accounts, you just have to put up your own capital with those places. So it's really still something that's sort of out of reach. Even if you are good at what you do, you need to have everything going on to I don't know who this is. It's 10:43 a.m. here in Texas. Nvidia is giving you a slight bounce here from the lows. The NQ is also breaking through the high here at 420. Not the high, but through this little trend line here at 420. Top end of this, back into this little choppy pattern here. We broke out of it once, came back in, chopped around. We broke out of it now again. Are we going to come back in, chop back around again? Or are we going to finally see a continuation to one side or the other? If we do get another breakdown of that 400 level, it's really up in that 402 3/4, although I think 400 makes more sense where there would be orders front running it, so I wouldn't necessarily want to short in front of 400. But like I said, if we do come up here above 420 and then start to fail, that next breakdown possibly acts as the true move in the right direction. So that's where I'm looking at potentially for a short. But yeah, 50 account. I mean, it's easy to blow that many. I've done it. It's just you get something happens. You know what you need to do, and you don't do it. So that's why we're here. It's nice to do like a streaming, like me doing the streaming. It helps other people we kind of talk through things. You have conversations. It keeps you from being lonely. You learn a thing or two here and there. You kind of pick up things. But also for me, it kind of keeps me in check. It keeps me at a point where I have to do what I say I'm going to do. Otherwise, I look like a moron, right? Or like you look like a liar, and you don't want to. You just want to be truthful. You want to be honest about the process because you don't want other people to do stupid shit like you did back when you were doing it, right? So having this stream keeps me accountable. It keeps me, ready to go. Yeah, accountable, right? Like it also refines you. The more you talk about it, the more you teach other people how to do it, even if they don't, care, the more it refines what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like for me, I could have easily hammered into a couple of these, but I know it's not part of my strategy. So it's something that I can't justify taking. And by talking to you guys and having a conversation and really working through this, like out of boredom, I would be like, it's just a combine. I'm going to take this, Good stuff. I'm going to throw my little alert there because if it comes back down here through 400, I would like to take that short down through 4, maybe at least to 80, and then beyond that. So beyond through 80. Let's see what we can do here. I'm going to throw my little potential setup alert going off there. Yeah, you don't take them seriously, right? You have to. Otherwise, you get in, you pass it on accident or something, and then you go into the funded, you pay your fee, and then you blow it because you do something ridiculous because you didn't take the combine seriously. You got to get yourself into a good rhythm, good habit for when you pass it, because then the next day you come in, you want to do the right thing. You always tell yourself, I'm going to do this in the combine, and I'm going to do that when I get funded. You can do that, but you have to understand what you're doing and where you're at. So I'm going to look to see if we do end up breaking through 400. I'm going to look to see if this is going to go short. So that's why I have my little potential alert going off. That's where the red and blues are going. I think a failure of this brings us lower. But if it continues on up and it breaks through those highs, then I may just shut the lights off. Let's see what Microsoft's doing. Microsoft retraced, bounced back here, right to the breakout point, right? If that retraces and continues back up, then that kind of invalidates our trade as well, right? Because these Mag 7 names are the heaviest weighted in this index, right? So we don't want to be fighting them. But Apple, gave you lower highs. Now it's kind of basing in between that 173 and the 171. So maybe that rotation down kind of adds some pressure, but it seems like they're inverse to each other. I was mentioning that NVIDIA, every time NVIDIA dumps, Apple's been pumping, and then every time it rotates, but it's like they're like almost totally inverse their chart right now, right? You can see NVIDIA push down, kind of is doing that little dance there. If you look at Apple pushed up and it's doing the same dance just on the high side. So they are seemingly inversely correlated at the moment, which is very interesting. I don't know if anybody's picked up on that, but it interests me. I want to see what Microsoft does too. We're down below 20 again. I've been trading since 2017. I don't know if you're asking JKD, but 2017 I started in Forex and then went from Forex to stocks and options and then bounced to futures, left futures to go to trade with T3 on the funded prop firm there. But like I said, you need to put up your own capital for it to be worth it. And if you don't have a ton laying around, it's not a conducive environment because you do have a good amount of leverage when you're on the prop firm. Yeah, I am still a cop, unfortunately for now. So I do the later shift evenings, and I do this in the mornings. And I also run the coffee company, daytradingcoffeeco.com. That's more of a side hustle thing that I'm trying to develop and build over time. But yeah, still a cop. for now, and we're going. Yeah, we do shift bids. We choose our shift. I used to be NYPD. We didn't really have as much of a choice up there. Now that I moved to Texas, where I'm at now, every year you get a chance to choose your shift. So I've been a cop for about, going on 9 years ish. Oh, going on 10 actually. So, you kind of understand how you can maximize your time as best you can when you get the opportunity to do it. That's another reason I like to do this stream too, because it kind of proved to people. Yeah, it just really depends on where you're at. Every department's very different. Like I said, with NYPD, we didn't get to choose. You did your best to choose, right? If you needed some for cause, like why you need a certain shift or whatever, your bosses would try to work with you, but that's not always the case. Here in Texas, you get more of the opportunity to choose. We may be switching our shifts, so it's either going to be overnight or days soon. So we might be switching to 12 hours. At that point, I'll have to adjust my streaming schedule potentially. But with the futures market, that's another reason I went to futures, because I thought it was a good opportunity to kind of trade around your own schedule. Like although the markets overnight are slower, there is still opportunity there, to make money if you have the right strategy for it. So I like trading during the New York session hours. So I try to make my schedule work for this, the kids, the job, Yeah, sort of. Just like the movies. Yeah, it's a different world than the movies, but there's definitely some similarities to it. If we get through 400, I'm going short. I thought that this was going to be the move, the stop out, the manipulation, and then a rotate that. But it could just stay here. So like I said, that's why I have the alert on, just in case I do take the short. It's going to have NVIDIA help us out. If NVIDIA is just going to chop around here, then it may not want to go. Microsoft also needs to rotate off of this pullback. So I want to see Microsoft break the low again. That will help us out. I'm not going crazy with it. Like I said, I'm only going to trade one contract through the low. Hell yeah. Good job, Jofi. 2 more funded for you. Keep it going. Keep it going. I love it. Good stuff. That's what this is all about right here. We're trying to get people funded. We're trying to get people to stay within their game plans. And I'm glad you're out here maximizing your ability to leverage these funded accounts, these prop firms, and doing whatever it is that is going to make you be able to trade better and make some money out of these markets. And that's what we're here for. So I'm glad you're able to do it. Show other people in the chat that it is possible. That's why I'm doing these combines. It is possible. Over and over and over again. Just pass them. Just try not to blow them. And do your best to trade them the same way you would trade your personal account or your funded accounts, right? Trade the combines seriously. Take them seriously. You did pay money for them. They are cheap, depending on which company that you're going through. But you still need to have a good strategy. You still need to have the right mindset in order to pass them, because some people just stick in them and they stay in them forever, or they burn them and they burn them and they burn them and they never can get over that hump. So once you do get over that hump, though, you understand how you could pass them sort of quick. And then at the same time, you got to start to learn how to maximize your gains with them and take those payouts, like Jofi doing $2,000 getting paid out. Gotta love it. So I'm waiting to see this thing break down. I'm going to take the short if we do get in. Gonna look to pass this account if this follows through for us. I will have my stop up over here if it does get triggered. Microsoft holding 420. Nvidia curling back up. Might not give us our entry here, right? This may be a higher low, and Nvidia might go back up through 900. Hell yeah. I am trading one mini for this account. Yep, one mini. And I don't know about Jofi. I don't know how much you're trading. Based on your $70, you're taking like a couple point, 3-4 points. It should be, but everybody always overcomplicates it, me included. And you make the money, or you try, like we were talking about earlier, you get into payout territory, and then you start to burn it. Yeah, I like to usually trade 2, even in the funded, unless I start hitting drawdown. As I get closer to passing, also, I step it down and start trading smaller, I don't want to draw down from it. But I'll usually do 2 contracts and then shed one and then let the other one run. And then some other, depending on the size of the combine, if it's 100K or something, I might even go up to 5 minis for, depending on the trade. Like this trade here was beautiful. If I was really set up for it, $10.57. I'm shutting this off, this sell order right now. I don't want to be involved until after 11. I got you. That works. So these are trading combines. If you go to topstep.com or Apex, like Jofi is using, they're just funding challenges or combines. So TopStep is a combine. I don't know if Apex calls it a challenge or whatever, but they all have different terminology. But all it is you have a certain profit target that you have to hit, and then you take it out. So that's why we mean this is just the preamp. I bet the breakdown happens now when I'm waiting for it to happen. Evaluation, that's the word. I think Take Profit calls it a challenge. The combine, it's all just terminology. They all use different terms to try and just get people interested in what they're talking about. I want this short through 4, so hopefully we can get it. Just broke that. Let's see, what's Nvidia doing? Wick that high there. What's Microsoft got going on? Yeah, well, combine is, it's like the American football thing. I think they base it off of that, where the NFL has their combine, so it's like that. Before you get into the NFL, you do that. So they based it off of that name. Challenge makes sense. There's a bunch of different English terms as opposed to American English terms. Two minutes left, a minute and a half left-ish in this hourly. If it closes below here, then the short should come in, and I shouldn't really have any issues of it coming back up. So if I wait till that hourly close happens, even if I miss out on a point or two, it's okay. Not really too concerned about it. Microsoft looking to roll the low here. I just find that if I do like to get involved within that 5 minutes of that hourly close, I just don't get all the information I need. And there's times I just stop myself out for no reason on a trade that I shouldn't. You guys change spellings. I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand the differences or why it's different, but it is. It's funny. So we're below 4. If we close below 4 here on the hourly, we're definitely going to go look to take this thing to the downside. S&P's is also trying to push through that 52.70, 250. As I mentioned, we manipulated, pushed up higher, and now we're looking to close on the low here. So let's see, we could take a short here. If it holds, it holds. If not, we're okay. To that 80 level, down into this level here. I am technically like 600 away from passing, so I'll just leave that down there, and I'll trail as I feel fit. Oh, I don't understand why this does this sometimes. If it comes back and stops me out, so be it. I would have liked to have gotten my entry a little higher, but I'm okay with that. If it's going to bounce off that trend line, then it is what it is. But like I said, I do like that break and hold on the hourly, and now it's going to just run me over. There we go. So we stopped out of that pretty quick, and now I'm going to wait. Maybe I'm going to see if this will get me in one more time on this short here. I think that's more of a where I wanted my entry anyway. So not really like a revenge trade, but more of a manipulation. See if it's going to fail this level again and then rotate back down. I'm going to go update that. So down 2 on that. Basically, we're even on the day. If that was going to be the actual manipulation now, the rotate higher could come in. So this is Top Step X. They use TradingView charts, and they implemented their own entry and exit with their liquidity provider. So it's technically TradingView charts, but it's Top Step X as the platform. So it's not TradingView. I don't know how to do Top Step X. I don't know how it actually works on TradingView. I don't have it personally. So you can see Microsoft flushed the low and now it's rotating higher. Let me just check this tilt. I mean, it actually is potentially a manipulation on the low side at 400. Trying to push up higher there. No, I'm not using TradingView. It is, so it's Top Step X. They call it. They use TradingView charts. I have TradingView. This up here is TradingView at the moment. But Top Step X, this platform that they use for their, I've been trying to use it for their combines and stuff, is they use the TradingView charts, but I think that some of this like order stuff is just for them and not for TradingView. Honestly, I'm like basically break even with my profitability. You know, I've been able to make a bunch of money and then give it right back. It took me a while to get to this point. You know, like I said, I started in 2017, but for like coming in here on an everyday basis, I mean, to get to a good money management point where you kind of just have the ability to maintain accounts and go. I mean, it took me a couple years. Yeah. Still haven't been like, I still have my day job, right? The day you'd see me quit policing and I'm just doing the streaming and the trading, that's the day that you know that it's profitable to a point where it's its own thing, right? So anybody who tells you that, you know, they're still working and making thousands of dollars a day, every day, is possibly lying, or they just love their job so much. But the day you see me leave, that, and I'll tell you, is the day that I will consider myself full-time and profitable. Like I know profitability is relative, right? Yes, I've made money over the years, but also I've given a lot back, and it's just, you know, yes and no. Not anymore as much as I used to. It's a very interesting career. I would love to do this full time instead, if that answers your question a bit better. Yeah, I would like to say I loved it, but it's a career. It's a good path of, you know, it's got benefits, you know, as far as like health insurance and stuff, and it doesn't pay great, but it's okay. Yeah, same. As soon as I realized I could do what I'm doing with this, and then like really starting to get the idea of being maximizing profits. Unfortunately, when you have a family, you have to guarantee money on the table food on the table. Until that time comes, you have to work and you have to supplement your trading ideas and build out a strategy and build out an account size that can withstand periods of drawdown and all that fun stuff. So, until that day comes where you can say comfortably, yeah, you're 21. So just, to work at it. Instead of going to college, I probably should have just traded. I didn't know about it. And then you have your, college debts and stuff like that from all that. So that's really where I'm into, working a job and trading and doing all that. And if you're young enough, keep working at this, because this is the future. This is where you can make money without worrying about anybody else. This is it. Yeah, I played college baseball, so I really went to school for baseball. If I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't have went. The school part really wasn't. I did good at it. It just wasn't. I didn't like the nonsense that was with it. Yeah, trading is your college. If you could do this, this is it. This is the money, man. This is where everybody makes the big people who have money. This is where they make more money. This is where it's at. If you can maximize your ability to take payouts and build an account and build yourself a little nest egg where you could have a safety net and just consistently take it day by day, you're going to be in good shape. Normally the stream goes till 11. I'm going to take it till, I had a little side distraction with the kids, so I'm going to take it till 11:15, 11:30-ish today. Yeah, you're good. You're making money a month. You're good. I think it's a constant grind. The problem is I love it. The fundamentals, everything about it. It's a challenge every day, and it's you versus you, and it's not you versus anybody else. And once you stop blaming everybody for everything, you start to realize, oh, this is great. Like, I'm in control. It sucks when I lose because I know it's my fault. It sucks when I do stupid things, break my rules or do this or that. So it keeps you accountable. It keeps you kind of understanding in a wider variety of not just trading, but in a broad spectrum of life, right? You're just getting better mentally. It's not easy. It definitely sucks a lot of times, but shit happens. Yeah, just that freedom. It gets you, man. It gets you. Yeah, it's hard. It's a very, very difficult thing to do. But at the end of the day, if you can make it work, it's life changing. And I think that's where we're at with Tradecaster. I think it's an awesome place. Grateful that Deck allows me to even get on here and talk to people about things. And he's got all this Top Step. All you have to do is have $200 days, 5 $200 days. So then you can take out every 5. Technically, I guess every 5 days you could take it out. But you have to have a $200 minimum. I think they kind of waive that $200 minimum if you're making like $100 a day for 10 something days. They'll let you take it out. But yeah, that's usually a $200 a day. Just they want to prove consistency. They don't want somebody to bang out $1,000 a day and then just micro trade and then take it out. So I can see why they have that rule. It's got to protect them some. But we are here waiting to see if this flush will happen this time. Lower high on this go around. Not a lot of push through. Retail still trying to be long on this. So I think that there's one more leg to the downside. And that leg to the downside, 360 is my idea. Down into here, 360. Waiting for this thing to kind of roll over. Like I said, a position. The position sirens are up there, waiting to get hit, waiting to get us to get down into these profit targets. We are up basically $100 on the day, up 327 on one, up down 2 on the other. So really should have been up on this one, and I just fucked up and traded the wrong account. So that does happen from time to time. You just got to realize which account you're on. That one still needed to make money, so I'm still fine with it. It's all good. Jofi, it's a pleasure. I always like when you stop by. I appreciate you giving some insight into your trading. I'll see you tomorrow or whenever you pop back in. We'll be here every day, 8:30 till 11. So it's cool to have that conversation. I'm proud that you got 2 more funded accounts. That's what this week was all about, getting that more funding for everybody and go from there. I think he said he's doing this. I think that's all. Or her. There you go. Sweet. Property broker in Dubai. How does that work? That's great. Shoot my shot short at this. If it does crack the low again, I think we do get the follow through to 60. 18,360 would be my profit target to the low side. If it doesn't, if it holds this, back into that little chop range that we go. Nvidia came right into 900 and failed it again, so that's where I see this actually kind of giving you that opportunity. How much are you making on properties in Dubai? Is everything just pretty expensive there, or is it relatively the same as, like, say, the UK or the United States? Oh, of course, yeah. I would love to go over to Dubai. I want to go catch the F1 race in Dubai. That's my my goal one day, to head over there and check it out. All right, that makes sense. I'm guessing everything's multi-million-dollar properties. It's not much like just regular costing homes. Yeah, especially Dubai. It's such like a booming area, and the money is there. Seems like a trader haven too, with a lot of traders living over there now. That's not. I mean, that's not totally unreasonable for like an apartment type building. It's not. It's cheaper than New York. Let's see if this will roll. It seems like S&P is giving up its 52.7250. I want to see if this will get through this low of 400. That's not the low, but it's my ideal location to try and get through. Oh, yeah. Later, Jofi. Let's go sell some homes. Or just chill. Just do anything. Don't have to be on the computer all day. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You're in a totally different time zone. Oh, goddamn. You guys are well ahead. That's cool. Cool stuff, guys. This may be the flip long. This is just a crappy trading location for me. Everything's slowed down. Lunch hour. You guys going to bed? What's this balance here? 52. This is gross. Gross trading. If we hold above this 420, potentially look to go long. I don't hate flipping my bias, but this overhead resistance here up into 28, it's just a chop fest. Not trying to get myself chopped up. All right, get out of here. Go to bed. Good night, Jofi. Nice. Let's see what we could do here. See what it looks like on a 5. See if we can get ourselves into some trouble. This is just gross price action. You can see the S&P is just not doing much of anything. I'm going to shut this little alert off. I'm not really in setup mode at the moment. The break above 420 does tell me that it probably wants to continue on. We have made higher low, higher low, higher low. Our delta has started to now push up higher, broke above the previous high. So we are starting to get some confluence in the delta pushing up. The VWAP is a good target for a rotation. It's not far off from here. I just don't trust to take a long right through the highs here. 75% long on the tilt. You do have this slight inverse head and shoulder type deal here too. So, we had it over here. It broke down eventually and failed to continue. Again, failed to continue down. Not a lot of real follow through on any of these moves. That first big move to the downside was really all you got out of the day as far as a good trade is concerned. We took one good short, kind of tried to do a short through the low here. Didn't quite get through. We took the bottom. We bottom ticked it. So really wanted to get short through here. Kind of caught it late because we were waiting for that hourly close. Probably should have just waited for a little bit more confirmation on that one. Stopped ourselves out. Basically up $100 on the day. Nothing to be ashamed about there though. Still happy with our executions, our stop out locations. Everything was fine. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with this price action. If we're going to start to see the other end of this, maybe break above the previous day low, hold the previous day low as support, and then rotate. But I don't think that's going to happen before I get off my stream and be done for the day. I do have to work tonight, so I'm going to try and just chill for a little bit. Normally I'm off today, but today I do some overnight shifts. So tomorrow's stream might be a little bit shortened as well, but we'll be on 8:30 till 11. Eight, 11:23. Not much going on. Like I said, normally I end my stream around 11 because this is really the price action. I also have to get out, get ready to go to work. Try to make all of my good executions either early in the morning or towards the very end, like around between 10 and 11. You can see what happened between 10 and 11. This is between 9 and 11. So we've just stayed in this choppy range. We have not discovered a good price yet. The only thing I can think of is that price is just going to stay here until VWAP comes in and butts its head here. And we're going to make a decision on what direction we want to go once we get into that VWAP. It's more of a time correction than it is a price correction. So a time correction to me more is indicative of wanting to continue to the downside. But also at the same time, it doesn't have to mean anything. If we want to run right back into VWAP here and then start to rotate back higher, you'll start to see higher low, and then maybe a rotate back through. Not going to get this parabolic kind of move back to the high side unless you get some more news or any news at all. I don't have any news on this. If I see this tilt get heavy long again up into that previous day low, I might look to short it from there. If we can get NVIDIA back down through 900, maybe that helps too. Microsoft also down through 420 and it's holding, which is nice. Apple pushing down into that 171. I think we do have a chance that this does reverse on us right here. Tilt is getting 75% long. Delta pushed up right up into those highs. Didn't quite make it there. I want some speed, some more speed on this. I want this thing to get up over here, maybe try and take out that high, get up into that VWAP area, get tilt up into the 80s, and then look to just continue the rotation back down to the lows. Sort of just like how we had it right here. But I do think that this higher low is a little bit more of an indication of potential going the other way. So that we have to see it happen how we saw it here, where it went up, held, and then failed immediately. Get through those levels, pop the high there, previous day low, and then rotate back down. Still not trying to get out of 2 days ago's range, right? That was all the way over here 2 days ago, a couple days ago, more than two. Monday's date, 415.80. I'm going to give that a line just to, there we go. Couldn't get it to go. Look at that, like, wedge right through the center of that area, that low from prior. All right, we're going to be on 3 more minutes. 11:30 will pop off. I just want to see what happens with this if we do get that big wick up above the previous day low. See if we can rotate this back down through and then kind of continue back to the lows. That would just be an idea I'm having on this, just to see if it'll just stay range bound here. Shoot my shot at it one more time, but it would have to confirm to me. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, right? You do have a low, a higher low, another significantly higher low, but you never made new highs. So now you're making new highs back through here. Just kind of been super range bound, chop fest right around here. So to me, thinking that anybody thinking 75% long here is kind of silly, right? Maybe we won't even get up there. Maybe we kind of get a little, maybe this is where it's at. So we're going to see what happens here. This is holding here. One more minute left in this beautiful Wednesday. We basically finished up about 100. If you account for the two accounts, I took one up 327. That trade was really nicely weighted for. It's kind of right where we're at right now. We're going to look to see if we can take a very similar trade on this account and just kind of even ourselves out, and then be up about 300 on the day. If not, we'll just take this shot and be done. Tomorrow, like I said, I'm doing an overnight tonight, so potentially we'll be on right at stream, if not at 8:30. I will be on at some point prior to going to work. It is tough to kind of trade the entire time, but I'm still going to come on, be here for everybody to, if anybody wants to bounce ideas or anything like that, come in and hit off on conversation, at least, even if I don't take some trades. It'll be nice to get in here and be on the charts at least. I did mention it is a holiday shortened week, so tomorrow would be the last trading day, so that is another reason to just kind of hop on and be there, but it's really not necessarily going to be a good trading day. So since we're here, I'll wait 2 seconds. I want to see if this will confirm for me. If it does, if we can fail this break above here, then I may took this short, and then we'll stay on for the short. But you can see the delta now trying to push up. Price not quite playing that. Didn't get up into that range there, but it is starting to build that pattern out in a very similar way. you do have the Russell as well, pushing highs up into that 21, 22 level. S&P is looking to get stronger, right up into that VWAP. Not quite getting to VWAP here. If S&P hits VWAP, it might sell from there, which may get the NQ to just roll just a touch, just enough for us to take some profits and bounce. But NVIDIA had an inside 5 and tried to break the high and failed it. So let's see. I'm going to set a stop. Oh, my market sold. All right. We're in. Risk 130 bucks. So we're in short here. Let's set this short alarm. Bam. I didn't mean to mark it. I meant to limit, but we would have got in anyway. So, I mean, would have... So there's that push up, and we're out. We're flat. We're going to be done there. Lock ourselves out of this account, and be done. Flattened for the day. We took our shot at it. We whipped up above. Probably will hit off on VWAP now that we kind of cracked this trend. Kind of fat fingered that bad boy, to be honest. Didn't want to mark it at all. Would have wanted to get triggered in below the low. But it all ends up in the wash. Today's a break-even day. Flat, totally, completely, pretty much across the two accounts, right? One account's up, one account's down, the same dollar amount. So basically flat on the day. Like I said, tonight doing an overnight. Hopefully I get on here 8:30 in the morning tomorrow. If not, I might have slept through, and I apologize. But I will try to be on here 8:30 till 11. And but I do have to go to work afterwards, so there is a potential that I don't get on. But I'm gonna try at some point during the day to get on. So until tomorrow, everybody. Like I said, pretty much a flat day. Didn't really catch that first opening trade. Caught one good entry, and then got this one we kind of just took a shot at, even though we knew it was probably going to run us over. So until tomorrow or next week, because potentially not tomorrow, and Friday we're closed. So I will see you all, and I hope you have a great day. Enjoy your Easter if you celebrate. If not, enjoy the days off, and I'll talk to you